Hi folks, it's Cynthia Deeren here. Now, if you're in business in 2020, you'll know that COVID-19 has created huge disruption in some industries and opened up massive opportunities in others. And for many companies, there's actually never been a better time to go global, but of course there are still challenges to overcome. How to get your message across in a new country is a big hurdle, and it's one that often trips up businesses looking to expand internationally. Too many founders and CEOs assume that they can just take their tried and tested domestic marketing strategy and copy paste it into an overseas market with the same great results. Unfortunately, that's not really how it works. And that's because every new market is unique, not just geographically and structurally, but also linguistically and culturally. And even in countries that appear superficially similar, like for example Australia and New Zealand, or the United States and Canada, or the UAE and Saudi Arabia, or Hong Kong and China, there can be stark differences in social cues, in the way that people communicate with each other, in the kind of media that they consume, and in how they prefer to buy. And that means that for each country that you plan to sell to, you'll need a tailored marketing strategy. In international markets, settling for generic marketing basically means settling for mediocre sales, or sometimes no sales at all. So you might be wondering, sounds interesting, how do I create a tailored international marketing strategy? And the key to creating a great marketing strategy that connects with your ideal clients in a new market can feel a little bit overwhelming, I'll be honest, because it's a big project. But like most things, when you break it down systematically, it is achievable. There are 3 key steps to getting your message across and making sales in a new country, and I'm going to share those with you in just a moment. Before we get to those steps though, I really want to emphasize that it is crucial that you have a crystal clear, detailed understanding of who your ideal client is in any given market before you start designing your marketing. If you go ahead without that piece of the puzzle, any marketing strategy that you come up with is basically just a shot in the dark. If you are interested, you can read more about defining your ideal client at our website, deerenassociates.com. So back to those 3 steps to creating your tailored international marketing strategy. The first step here is to understand the business and cultural context of the country that you want to sell to. And in my experience, companies coming from a home market often don't have a very good grasp of the context that they're going into. Especially where a business has been successful at home, it's easy to believe that there's no need to do the work to understand the ins and outs of how marketing works somewhere else. And I have heard people say things like, we don't need to do a lot of market research. We've been really successful in our home market and we've got a great product which people love. We're just going to keep on doing what we've already done well. The reality is though that when you cross national borders, you cross cultural borders too. And in some cases, you might find that you're not even competing in the same category that you were competing in at home. Your competition set might be broader. Perhaps you're speaking to a different kind of user base. Perhaps the user base wants to use your product in a different way to the way that it's used at home. Maybe at home you target the mass market, whereas crossing borders, you'll find yourself addressing a different consumer market, which is more likely to use what you sell. Without a good understanding of the business and cultural context, it's really hard to craft a strategy to market products and brands in a way that makes a connection with the customer, makes the product interesting, and really satisfies a need. And that is because these elements are often culturally determined. What I'm saying here is that before you rush out and decide how many Instagram ads you're going to run, take the time to really understand the environment that you'll be marketing in. Secondly, choose marketing channels that work overseas. Once again, you just can't assume that what is going to work, that what works for you at home is going to work overseas. And I will give you a classic example, which is a little bit exaggerated, but I think it's a fair one. And that's the case where a company successfully sells in the US and Australian markets using Facebook ads. And that company decides as it goes to China that it's going to just continue using Facebook ads in China. Now, if you know anything about China, you'll know that Facebook is banned. So using Facebook as a marketing channel is out of the question, and that strategy is just not going to fly for those people. If you want to go down the social digital marketing route for China, you're going to need to investigate platforms like WeChat groups, look at live streaming, and play with TikTok, also known as Douyin in China. Now, as with the cultural context, it's important to choose a channel that is actually going to be effective in your new market rather than just going with what you know and hoping for the best. And lastly, you need to reverse engineer your marketing strategy so you get real results. You're going to get the best results if you actually put in the work and reverse engineer your plan so that you base your marketing efforts and the campaigns that you do on the amount of sales that you plan to make, rather than doing what so many companies do, which is just pay, spray, and pray. In other words, arbitrarily splash cash around on marketing in the hope of sales, but without any clearly defined goals in mind. There is a whole lot to this topic, this reverse engineering piece, but when you boil it right down, the key here is to set targets and then work backwards so that you understand what kind of lead volumes you're going to need to meet those targets and what kind of campaigns are going to drive those volumes of leads for you. Would you like to find out more? If you have got some questions having watched this video, and if you found it informative and fun, and I hope you have, I have got a special invitation for you. And that is because I know that creating an international marketing strategy is a big project and there is a lot more to it than I can cover in a single video. If you would like to work with me on creating a tailored international marketing strategy for your business, I would love you to join me at a special virtual masterclass, which is called Magic Marketing, How to Make Your Message Stick Anywhere, which is coming up on the 12th and 13th of August. Over 2 half days, 10 till 2 each day, I will show you how to understand the cultural context of a new market, how to choose marketing channels that work in your target market, and how to reverse engineer your marketing strategy for real results. You can get more information and reserve your ticket at the link that goes with this video. I'm Cynthia Deeren, and I hope to see you soon.